Alright, so, welcome to another video with the Stormin'Mormon, and I just thought for tonight we would do something back to basics. An introduction to the channel, who I am, what I'm doing, why we're here. So, let's start with what we're doing here. This is a channel dedicated to defending the faith of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That's the primary motivation. If you would like to send your friends here to learn the truth about many of the myths and eccentricities, this is the channel to send your friends to. A word about that. Who is this guy? Why is he telling me all this nonsense? What expertise does he have? Well, let me tell you. Let me tell you, because long, long ago, when the internet was young, long before the advent of Xbox Live, when 9-year-olds could yell at strangers on the internet for sucking at Halo and Call of Duty, there was once upon a time these, and I'm talking about this is back in the day of disk internet, where you would have to put in your server, AOL, whatever thing it was, to get your internet, your modem going and connect to the internet that way. At this time, it was very popular to have these things called Yahoo chat rooms. That's where the first wave of trolling ever existed, was, I'm convinced, in these chat rooms. And around this time period, we're talking, oh my god, like 95-ish is when these chat rooms were up and going. People were putting in their disks to get their internet. And the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints had an interesting idea, a program, if you will. They had members across the world, who held a calling where their job was to be moderators and representatives for the church in these chat rooms, to give some kind of official feel for it. But because we're a lay clergy, no one was paid for this moderation team. This was from the church, for the church, and by the church. And so at this very young age of the internet, full of trolls and full of the miscreants that would inevitably swarm and crawl out forth from the cracks of hell, there was a young account made called Fab, F-A-B, who was a 9 to 8-year-old child absolutely having fun with the priests and the atheists and the anti-theists and all the naysayers and all the people bringing up absolute garbage about my religion. And this Fab account was fantastic at not only bearing testimony, but generally... Oh my goodness, I'm gone from the screen. What happened to me? I don't know what's... There we go. I'm back now. And so, this Fab account got a very good, strong taste of what anti-Mormon, anti-Latter-day Saint literature and rhetoric looked like. So that's what I was doing before the advent of Xbox Live, was BTFOing preachers, atheists, and the like, long before the advent of when it became normal and popular to do so. Another thing that happened, as I have learned growing up, one of my best friends got antied pretty hard when we hit. Now, mind you, this guy was awesome. This guy passed out the Book of Mormon as his senior project in high school. That's how strong of a convert he was. And someone handed him anti-Mormon literature, and he lost his testimony. He fell away. He didn't believe anymore. And I was determined. Like, I wanted to know why he fell away. So I went to it wasn't Barnes and Noble at this point. It was still Borders books, for those of you who are old and can remember that far in history. And I went to Borders and I saw it almost had its own section, but didn't. I think it was like wrapped up in like the occult section, oddly enough. And I found this odd book, this anti-Mormon book called One Nation Under Gods. Thanks. That wasn't a leading title. And what struck me as odd as I'm reading this anti-Mormon book is they immediately begin to poison the well. They immediately begin to do things like make reference to uh, occult symbolism, pentagrams, the abracadabra triangle. And that's weird because never in the church, as a Latter-day Saint was I ever exposed to the pentagram or the abracadabra triangle or anything remotely contemporary occult symbology. It was ridiculous. But the other thing that really caught me off guard and that was really daunting was the bibliography, the works cited, the massive, nigh encyclopedic sources that they claimed to be pulling from. Except they weren't really faking it. And I learned this new term from Aidan Paladin called academic incest, or academic incest was the phrase that was being used. And it's a tactic that anti-Mormons use to seem more authentic, more peer-reviewed, when they're not. They're anything but. And what they do is, and we're going to do this with several stories where it sounds really bad at first, and there claims to be a lot of work cited around this. Things like Joseph Smith was a convicted fraud. Actually happened. There's court documentation. But they don't show you the actual documentation. They don't show you the original source document. They don't show you the original testimony of these events. They don't give you any context to what their claims are. They only say, oh, we're supported by this previous anti-Mormon book, who was corroborated by this anti-Mormon book. But they don't actually cite the original source itself. And they do that for a reason. And we're going to go over, as we go over these issues and these myths and these accusations, one by one. And we're going to show you how anti-Mormon literature actually works and how it cloaks itself in academic incest. Is the phrase I recently learned. How it cloaks itself in that to seem more authoritative. It's a tricky process. So that's the purpose of this channel. We're also, and for those of you who didn't catch the previous live stream, I don't bring other Latter-day Saints on my streams usually. I like to bring on people who are not of the faith, people who have the typical questions that you would expect, and the point is to show other fellow saints you're not as weird as you think. You're not as alone as you think. And so the purpose here is to break the ice, to get people involved and let them know what we're actually about, what the true histories are, and what we actually teach, and what the facts actually are at the end of the day when it comes to these stories and myths and accusations from anti-Mormons. So that's going to be the purpose of this channel. So I hope this was a wonderful introduction for you. I hope you learned a little bit more about who I am. I'm a frontliner from the shitposting generation, and I happen to be pretty good at debunking anti-Mormon literature. So this is going to be fun. So join the channel, click the link, subscribe, like, all the things. Thank you guys. I'll be seeing you in a few weeks where we'll be covering We'll be covering the fraud story. We'll be covering Joseph Smith's Seer Stone. We'll be covering polygamy and a host of every other thing on this channel. Everything you've ever had a question about when it comes to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we're going to cover. In fact, one video I really want to do is on the Mountain Meadows Massacre and Porter Rockwell. That will be a fun one. And it's actually one of the things I look forward to. I do not shy from controversy. And so we're going to take on all of it. Hope you guys like this. I hope you like the channel. And we're just going to go right into it. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.